hate every time I have to go there. I'm not going to name it by name, but it's this little podunk.
Name it.
It's called Klima. It's Klima Feeds in I can't even remember the name of the town right now. Franksville. But it's just this backwoods little town.
You just drove.
What did I do?
They just lost all their business. They just lost all. Klima Feeds in Franksville. Man, we got at least fucking 500 listeners out in Franksville, and you're just gonna disparage Klima Feeds like that?
Well, I was just trying to be respectful because I'm about to talk a little shit.
That whole town. That's our most popular town. That's our most popular town. They listen to every episode.
Well, anyway, it's this podunk little fucking...
Oh, but your boss, we do know your boss might listen. Oh, fuck. Okay, maybe you should bleep that out. Fuck, I'm sorry. Tell your story. I keep interrupting. I'm sorry.
So, I'm there on Tuesday, and in my experience, I've been going there for a couple of years, it's always this old hillbilly guy that runs the office, like the main office, and then his son is the person who helps me unload. It's usually like 2 pallets every week. And this past Tuesday, I was getting real pissed off because it was my first stop of the day, and it literally took over an hour to offload 2 pallets. So, like, what I have to do is, like, I'll stack bags on these metal trays, and he takes them with, like, this dolly into a separate area of the building. And this past week, every like in between every cartload that he was taking, his dad has a microphone in his office that blares over this intercom, and just totally fucking disrespectful of my time. He's like, he'll take 1 cartload and they're like, I need 3 bags of senior dog food. I need 24 bags of topsoil. I need 45 bags of this. And like, so this kid has to keep running off and doing all these other like order fulfillments basically. And I was, I'm not going to bark at this kid because he's like a 23-year-old kid. It's not his fucking fault. But I'm getting annoyed because I'm standing there like literally 40 minutes of the hour that I was there was me just standing around waiting for him to come back. So I'm not going to bitch at this kid, but when he finally did come back after a long period of time, I said to him, you guys could probably benefit from an additional employee. And he's like, yeah, but we've tried to hire other people. No one wants to work. And then not 2 minutes later was he bitching about how he works 80 hours a week for $10 an hour. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. No one wants to work here, dude. Like, honestly, like, I know it's your fucking dad, but he does not value your time. And I came up with this analogy, like, you can't go to a mechanic to get your car fixed, right? You bring your car in to get fixed. And after all is said and done, the mechanic says, oh, that'll be $200 for parts and $100 for, time and labor. You can't tell that mechanic, I think your time's only worth $25, actually, so I think I'm only going to pay you that. Like, no, this is a service that you need, so, like, why is it that employers are allowed to, downgrade the valuability of your fucking time for them to work, for you to work for them when, like, clearly shit is not running correctly because you don't have enough workforce. I'm explaining this a little bit poorly, but do you know what I'm getting at?
No, you're right, but you're also, I don't want to say wrong, you're incorrect in my assessment of just simply the analogy. So here's the deal, and this is why it's smart to know a trade. People who make money don't want to get their fucking hands dirty. They don't want to learn how to do things, even though people who know how to do things for themselves can enrich themselves even though they make less money. Right? So, like, I do a lot of things on my own which enable me to make the meager dollars that I do simply because I know how to like fix a lot of things on my own. You know what I'm saying? Like so that affords me a little bit of extra room. But for the general population, the reason why a mechanic can say like, "Oh, this is what it costs," is because you can't do that yourself.
Right.
The reason that Klima Feeds here can say, you know, like, well, this is what I'm going to pay you is because anybody can do that job. You don't need to learn much to learn how to fucking push a cart around. All you need to do is get your muscles in order. You know, and like you do it enough days. Like I remember when I first started working at Burlow, and I was out of shape my whole life, and within a couple months, you know, I'm fucking dropping pounds, and all of a sudden I'm throwing 150 pounds of fucking dog food over one shoulder, carrying another bag just in my grip, you know, like alongside, and I'm just walking around the warehouse with 200 pounds of dog food, like no big deal. And that's not a lie. Like that's the point that I'd gotten to working there. And I've kept up that shape, like in the meantime, but it doesn't take any skill is the point. Like once you work there long enough, you'll be able to do the job. Now, here's where you are right, though. There's a point when people are paid so little that you can't just say anymore, well, anybody can do this job. And this is where I'm glad you brought this topic up because, like, people need to fucking respect what's going on in the world right now. It's not, oh, the government's paying people too much money to go get a job. It's, no, why can the government afford to pay people, you know, for a year and you can't pay them just so that they can pay their rent, put food on the table, and maybe have a family, at the very least have a fucking girlfriend. Right. And when those things don't intersect anymore, that's when you lose the workers. But I just want to, like, the thing I wanted to clarify is, like, the reason why, like, a mechanic can charge whatever is because he can do some shit that you can't do.
Correct. And
you know what I mean? Like, what are you going to say?
I do agree with you. My main point, though, was, like, though that job is not what would be called skilled labor, if you don't respect your employees' time, then, like, of course no one wants to fucking work for you. If you're going to make someone work 80 hours a week and pay them, you know, pennies on the fucking dollar, no shit you can't find people who want to work for you. Like, that's how it goes across the board. Like, you know,
no, exactly.
Like, there's so much talk about how nobody wants to work. Well, look at jobs that have, let's just say, pay at least, you know, $15 to $20 an hour with benefits. Those jobs are not as in need of employees because people actually want that fucking job. Whereas if you're paying $10 an hour with no benefits and extraordinary, ridiculous fucking hours, no fucking kidding, nobody wants to work that job. Like, so how do you not make that connection as an employer that nobody wants to work this bullshit position that you're offering?
Well, and the another thing about that too is that, so when I've held normal jobs, I've always worked for private employers because they always pay more. Because in local, like, in communities where you need, where the workforce isn't as large, you need people to work there, and you also, the owner of the business sees their employee face to face every day, and you're not seen as a number, you often get paid better, right? So, like, I haven't had a job in the traditional workforce now in 6 years, I think it's been. And before that, I delivered pizzas for about 1.5 years, and before that, I had the recording studio for 3 years or so, 2.5 years, something like that. And it's all because of the reasons that you speak of. I just think I've been a little bit out ahead of things, where it's like, you know what, I'm not going to have a lot of money. I'm not going to necessarily always be proud of my situation in life, but for the past, 8 out of the last 10 years, the dollars that I make go into my pocket. And I'm not just a, chink in the chain of, or link in the chain, chink in the chain, Jesus. Link in the
stop
chain
Asian hate.
of, I'm just doing this. I'm not building railroads here, so I'm just a link in a chain of, I'm sorry to all our Asian American listeners. I know there's tons of you out there. But that was a joke. Because of my speaking. Yeah, we're drinking here. We're drinking here. Get over it. It's a loose stool. Things like that come out of the mouth. But anyways, I'm going to make dollars that benefit me, and I'm not going to allow you to put your profit margin over the effort that I put in and then decide what my effort is worth towards your fucking profit margin. I'm just not going to fucking do it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I've been doing that, like I said, for the most of the last 10 years now, and I think people are finally coming around to that idea of, not that I'm getting unemployment checks, it's just fucking saying, fuck you. Fuck you trying to pay me $10 an hour. I'll figure it out on my own. And if that's what you think that my blood, sweat, and tears is worth, the fact that I need to work 80 hours a week, I don't get to have a social life, that I'm always worried about getting up for work the next day, and you, this is how you fucking value my time?
Right.
I'm not going to have any part of that fucking workforce, and I'm just glad that everybody else seems to be waking up right now, because that's what I truly believe is happening. The workforce is waking up to the
and
power
I think
that
that's
we
why
have.
the gig economy, so to speak, has become more and more popular. Is that, yes, maybe these gigs are facilitated by larger corporations or what have you, but people's ability to make money is becoming much more up to themselves and what time they want to put into it. And that is more empowering than showing up to a job that's 40 to 80, whatever fucking hours a week for a set salary, or, a shitty amount per hour. Because people have more freedom to choose what time they spend and how much money they're going to make off of that time.
Well, and I'll tell you what, man, one thing, this is going to be kind of a funny, but it's all to the point. I got really mad the other day. I was watching, my NBA basketball, which I love so much. NBA basketball, which I love so much. And they've been playing all these Corona advertisements with Snoop Dogg, and he's walking on the beach, handing out beers to people. And he said this line in, the most recent one. He's like, time equals money, baby. It just depends on how you spend it, or some shit like that. And I'm sitting there, dude, I've been saying this shit for 20 fucking years. This is literally what I've been telling people. But I've never said it that, concisely. I've never said it that, but it's always been to me, time equals money, which means the more money or the more time I have, the more money I have, as long as I'm surviving and I'm being contributive, towards society, or not even towards society, as long as I'm doing something good that I feel good about and then I feel isn't selfish.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? That's what it's all been about. And when I heard that on the commercial, I sometimes I'll bitch to you in private, just man, I have these ideas and they just keep popping up in my face as somebody else having them. Why didn't I get there first? I've had this shit for years. And that one really killed me. I'm man, they're putting shit I've been saying for fucking years now on these commercials. And I don't know. I don't know what that really means, but it is cool though. And it is the way to think about it. Time is money. Money isn't time. The more time you got, the more time you got to figure out how you want to make your money, how you want to live your life, how you want to act,
And at the end of the day, it does come down to personal accountability of how you want to be treated. As far as by employers or what have you, if you I don't want to make this a blanket statement, because obviously jobs are jobs, and people need to sometimes take what they can get. But eventually, if you're lucky enough to get yourself to a point where you are able to choose a way to spend your time that will make you money.